Hello and welcome to Doctor Who Christian Nerd, where today I will be showing you the modifications that I made to my 11th Doctor Sonic screwdriver. Um, when I first knew that I wanted to mod this, I was very skeptical about what I was going to do. I didn't want to harm the screwdriver in any way because I knew that if I started opening up circuitry and wires and stuff, that mine would most definitely break. Um, and I'm that guy. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? So I just sat and watched countless modification videos. Um, and there was one video by Vote Saxon07. You should go subscribe to him. He he used a lot of trial and error, and I learned from his mistakes about what to do and what not to do when modding a screwdriver. So the very first thing I did was a very simple modification that really does nothing to the workings of the screwdriver. It just helps the claws get a little bit closer, tighter into the emitter. And all I did was, I do not know if you can see it or not, but on the claw I put just a little ball of hot glue on a low setting. I put the hot glue gun on a low setting. Put just a little bit of hot glue on the claw, and with your finger, if you can tolerate just a tiny bit of heat on the low setting, just push it down and wait for it to dry and take your finger off. And you have a nice little layer of hot glue there, which when you close the claw, really kind of makes the claws tighter to the emitter. And that was the first mod I did. And it was very simple, did nothing to the inner workings of the screwdriver. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to drill a hole into my screwdriver to create another button to hit this little button on the thingamabob. So I did that. I drilled the hole with just a screwdriver. You can use a drill, but more often than not, at least in my case, because like I said earlier, I'm that guy. You'll drill, the drilling will just not work out too well. So I just took it with a little, with a screwdriver. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. So I drilled a hole, and stuck a BB in it, put tape over it. I thought, okay, this is going to work. And so I extended the claw, and then all of a sudden it just started making the noise on its own, and I couldn't figure out why. So I tried it again, and it kept doing the same thing, and it got really annoying. And the claw, when you hit the button, it wouldn't extend all the way, and you have to flick your wrist, which I was actually pretty much okay with that because Matt Smith does that with his screwdriver on the show. So that was no problem for me. The problem was that it would just automatically start going, and I'd have to actually press the actual button when the screwdriver's closed to get it to stop, and then when I put my finger off, it would start going again. So I had to figure out what was wrong with that. And then I figured out that it was the red ring inside there. I do not know how well you can see that, but there's a red ring inside there that's attached to the red button at the back. And that's how it hits the button and works. Well, when I drilled the hole, I pushed that red ring over a little too far, and so it was causing the claws to, well, not the claws, but the jumpy out part of the screwdriver to catch right on there, which is why it wouldn't extend all the way. And the button would catch on there, and that's why it would create the sound when I didn't want it to. So I did something very simple. I tried really hard not to actually try and open up my screwdriver, but that wasn't going to work. So I had to open up a little bit to figure out what I was going to do. And so I worked this ring off. And for those of you who haven't actually done that to your screwdriver before, all you got to do is take a flat bladed knife and just kind of slowly push all the way around until all of the glue cracks, and you can just like twist it and pull it off, and it's no big deal. And then I pulled this out enough to where I could get a pair of scissors in there. Oh, there are my buttons. You might have to take your buttons out, just make sure you pay attention to where they go in. And on the red ring, I cut a little piece out of it. You see right there, kind of where it is right there. Cut a little piece out of it. That's where the button, where my makeshift button was. And then I closed it back up and put the buttons back in. And make sure you put the buttons back in the right way, otherwise the emitter or the buttons won't work all that well if you do not put them in the right way. Alright, now that I got those buttons back in, that's a good thing. You want to make sure your buttons get in back right, and then it should work when you press the makeshift button down here. Now, a makeshift button, when I drill a hole, that is a big hole because the button that I chose to use is this pellet from pellet gun. It's plastic. I tried using a smaller, actually metal BB, but it wouldn't stick out of the screwdriver far enough to actually press the button. So I just put a bigger plastic pellet, drilled a big enough hole with the screwdriver for it, right over the button, put a piece of duct tape over it. If I actually had black electrical tape or black duct tape, I would have used that, but right now I don't. So yeah, I just put a piece of duct tape over it, and it works. Works like it's supposed to. It shoots out like it's supposed to. So all the sounds work, and it's back to the way that it's really supposed to work. And it kind of makes me mad that I was able to do this, and that Character Options, the company who actually makes these toys, was not. They were not able to actually do what I did, and I'm not very good with electronics or anything. All they had to do was put just another little button right there. That's really all they had to do. They didn't even have to mess with this button or anything. One thing I should say about this mod, if you're going to follow it and do exactly what I did, it renders the red button useless. So if you want to keep the red button working, don't do what I did and go find some other modification to do and totally scratch everything that I've done on this video. But if you are like me and don't really care if the red button doesn't work, go ahead and do this. It is perfect. Everything else works just fine, just the way it's supposed to. And because my button didn't work, I actually glued this cap shut because mine was not very tight and it was also falling off. So I just glued the cap shut, and my screwdriver looks pretty nice. So it works great. So if you want to do exactly what I did, just follow my steps exactly. Alright, thank you for watching Doctor Who Christian Nerd, and I'll see you next time.